going to start with the 6 hip stability areas. We're going to focus on internal and external rotation of the hip. These exercises are all on the floor with 2 pieces of equipment, just a light band, and if you don't have that at home, as well as a yoga block. And if you do have a sandbag, that can be one way we can increase the tension on those exercises. So you can just use a yoga block to rest your head on. We're going to start with a basic clam. And so when you're setting yourself up for a clam exercise, what I want you to do is just angle your legs forward at about a 45 degrees. You're going to place your heels together, stacked directly on top of each other. I like to place my hand on top of my hip just to make sure that I'm not using any sort of accessory muscles in the side part of my hip here, and pushing down. And what you're going to do is go into a rotation. And you're going to only go as high as your body's going to allow you until you compensate and rotate anywhere else. Okay? So for this exercise, this is as high as my hip is going to allow me to go. If I'm going to go any higher, what's going to happen is I'm going to rotate my body backwards. So we're going to go for approximately 15 to 20 reps, or until that muscle starts to really burn in the top, in this area right behind. So I don't want you feeling any sort of discomfort in the front part of your hip. We're more so looking at the muscles in the back part to be kind of heated up. Now what I want you to do is we're going to go for placing that leg slightly down. So I want you to really eccentrically control that knee as we're rotating and lowering that leg. One other thing, if you're really not feeling that, you can rotate that toe towards the ceiling as well, as long as you're not compensating in through by hiking up this hip. Okay? The next exercise, we're gonna rotate that leg slightly and lift it up off the ground. And we're gonna do the same thing, maintaining this good neutral posture through our lumbar spine. Good. And the same kind of heat is happening in the back part of your hip. So if you've decided to use a band, you're going to place that band around this part of your knee. And we're going to go with that as well. For this purpose, I've just gone with very light, almost no resistance, just body weight. And just slowing and slightly lowering it down. In this position, we're gonna change the exercise. We're gonna do a straight leg. We're gonna go slightly behind midline with our toes turned down, and we're gonna lift and lower that leg. Again, maintaining pressure on the top part of our hip. Now, we're not wanting to overextend that leg, because if we do that, we're gonna lose. We're gonna start activating some other muscles. So by just keeping mindful of using your hip rotator. And we're going up and down in through that range. Slowly lowering, controlling that eccentric lowering phase of that exercise. Keeping that core tight in front. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring into the next exercise where we're going to bring into hip flexion. And we're going to watch that plane of motion and go into hip extension as far as our body's going to allow us, keeping that glute engaged and without losing that nice neutral position. Try not to rock the body. We're also trying to keep that knee in line with our ankle and not letting it drop as we go through that range, looking a lot like cycling a bike or possibly running. Now again, we can band this exercise, but making sure that as we come up, we're not flexing our spine, we're making sure that we're keeping that nice and neutral. And changing to the next exercise where we're going to bring that leg in front, tap the leg, and tap the heel behind. And tap the knee in front, and tap the heel behind. So we're going more in a multi-directional plane of motion, addressing all of those hip rotators. Okay? Now if you have more range, you're going to really try to drop that knee inward, maintaining that neutral spine through the core. And rotating back and forth. Again, banding if you need to. Good. Now we're going to take this block and we're going to place this in front where that leg is at 90 degrees, and we're going to work on some internal hip rotation. So again, kind of setting your core, straightening that bottom leg so nice and flat. Heel is neutral, and we're going to rotate that leg upward. As we do this, we're going to drop and slowly lower that leg, letting that heel touch if you can, if you have that range. Rotating in through that hip. Core is maintaining contraction, neutral back. Now if this is very easy and after about 6 to 8 reps you're feeling nothing, what I want you to do is I want you to take that ankle weight. These ankle weights can be purchased anywhere. Your local fitness warehouse or Walmart, Superstore, that sort of thing. And you're going to just slowly lower, working that eccentric lowering phase, watching that there's no accessory movement anywhere else. And we're going to go to fatigue, higher reps, because we're trying to recruit a motor control perspective here in the hip, just teaching those muscles that they can stabilize for us and educating them as to what they should be doing in a safe environment on the floor. Now, the next exercise, the last one we're going to do, is I'm going to have you just taking that leg and lifting it up and slowly lowering it. Now this can be fairly challenging, so you can also place that hand just in front to add a little bit of support. Pushing this bottom leg in through the floor. And again, not rotating the body backwards. Going from anywhere from 10 to 20 reps. With that weight on, it's going to be fairly challenging. And this is a 2.5 pound weight. Good. All right. And placing that block down in front. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side. And thank you today for working with this hip stability circuit. And we'll work on our gluteus maximus next.